What would you like to see him do in the future? You know, in like the next movie? Or
Well, I'm actively advocating to Paramount that rather than this thing called Star Trek: The Next Generation, I think the audience would really be interested in Star Trek: This Generation, because that's Star Trek. Yeah. And both Bill and Leonard have indicated they're not interested in doing series television again because it is tremendously grueling. Yeah. But my metabolism is that of a television actor. I like the rhythm and the pace, And so I've been advocating the title Captain Sulu as a new series for Star Trek. Because, this Star Trek, The Next Generation, I'm sure is going to be a good show because it has the talents of Gene Roddenberry and many of the people that contributed to it. But I do think that title, Star Trek: The Next Generation, is unfortunate because, as I said, it's going to take place 100 years from now. Yeah. The characters are all going to be different. They're not even going to be the progenies of the characters that we know. Mm-hmm. The look is different. The technology is different. It's going to be quite a different show. And when you have the title Star Trek attached to it, inevitably it's going to raise expectations and certain anticipations of what we personified, the kind of chemistry that was there, the characters that they love, and the kind of world that was created by the name Star Trek. It's going to conjure up those expectations. So no matter how good the show, it's not going to be able to live up to those anticipations for the show, and inevitably it's bound to disappoint. I think because I'm sure it's going to be a good show, it would be wiser to give to that show a name that will give it a fair chance to be appraised on its own merits. Maybe, Adventures in Space or the year 2400 or something, so that it can stand on its own feet rather than use Star Trek as a crutch, which I think may be more a curse on them.
What are your favorite scenes or moments in the show that you were in, or that some of the other actors were in, or do you have any favorite ones?
Well, of course, my favorite would be anything that Sulu would be involved in. I think that sword fight, swashbuckling sequence in Naked Time, I had a lot of fun with. Another character that another episode that I enjoyed a lot was Mirror, Mirror, where we saw the flip side, the darker, the vicious, evil, cutthroat, amoral side of the USS Enterprise. And of course, Sulu was one of the most vicious and conniving of that, and also most rapacious. And Sulu's only love scene really was a rape scene.
A lot of people at the convention said that was one of their favorite episodes.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
They have good taste.
Yeah. There's a friendship that is on screen between the actors as it continue off screen, and how.
Yeah. The cast. Most of the cast are all good personal friends as well as good professional colleagues. Walter's a very, very dear friend. We talk quite regularly on the telephone, and Nichelle is a wonderful, dear lady, and she's been very generous with herself as well. There are sometimes appearances that I can't make, and Nichelle fills in wonderfully. As a matter of fact, while I'm gone in the Philippines, I'm going to be honored by the Japanese American community. And Nichelle is going to be there to present me and to accept for me. And she's also going to be the headline entertainer at that event. So Nichelle is a very dear friend. And I've had Jimmy and his wife over here, Jimmy Doohan, frequently, and he's also a good drinking partner. When you go to conventions and you're away from home, and you're there with Jimmy. Jimmy makes for a roistering good time. Yeah. I think Leonard and I are politically simpatico. We've been active in the same campaigns, whether they be issues or candidates, and we've been involved in a lot of common, mutually of concern fundraising efforts in the charitable area as well. DeForest is very sweet, and I've shared a lot of good times with him. We did a 8-city promotional tour in 1979 when Star Trek: The Motion Picture came out, and I really enjoy DeForest. He's probably the most low key of all of us. Yeah. He is a Southern gentleman, and so his pace and life metabolism is much slower. But I enjoy that about Dee, and Dee's a great change of pace friend.
Yeah. What about some of the people that are behind the scenes? Do you have any favorite people you work with? Their directors? Is anybody, writers?
Well, Leonard is, of course, behind the screen as well as in front of the screen. He's directed 2 of the Star Trek features, yeah. And I have enormous respect and admiration, and indeed awe for his multiple capacities, because directing a film requires a lot of talent beyond just being a good filmmaker. You're dealing with a lot of egos, and how you orchestrate those egos, which brings in qualities that are more those that one would initially think of as belonging to a diplomat, or maybe a psychiatrist, or an international peace treaty negotiator. But Leonard has that extraordinary combination of qualities. He is really a leader in the best sense of the word. He has the ability to create a sense of teamwork, a partnership, an esprit de corps, that we're all in this together, and by each of us contributing something of our own unique capabilities, we're going to all be successful, as opposed to the kind of director that says, I'm the boss, I know what we want to do, I have a vision, and you guys are all going to help me get there. Leonard's is to say we all share this common vision, and let's work together to get there.
And I'm sure that adds to the quality of it.
And it, I think, shows in the end result. The films that Leonard's directed were all very, very proud of, because we each feel proprietorial about it. And it's Leonard's genius and leadership that makes each one of us feel that proprietorial sense about that project. Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, obviously, and he's a bigger-than-life human being in every sense of the word. He's a person that I admire and respect and love, for the past 22 years. Yeah. Harv Bennett joined us more recently with the Star Trek feature films from Star Trek II on. And I certainly hope that he's going to be with us for the rest of the Star Trek features, because it's his guiding light, his strength, his ability, his business acumen, as well as his understanding of Star Trek and the values that it represents and the ideals that it represents, as well as his, he's a wonderfully genial person. Star Trek's father, unquestionably, is Gene Roddenberry, but the wise teacher who took over the adolescent is Harv Bennett. And Star Trek really has been the beneficiary of these 2 wonderful, geniuses. One that gave birth to it, and the other who took the adolescent and helped it grow to this kind of strength and maturity. I kind of like that metaphor.
It's Circle Limit.